Hello, everyone. This is Cuzzo, and welcome to MMKK EMA. Well, today, I think we're very lucky as we're hosting one of the biggest passive income projects, if not the biggest passive income project in all of BSC, at least. We all heard about Elephant Money. A lot of you are already invested in it, as I've been talking to some of you. There's a lot of people who wish they were invested in it, people like me. But today, we shall find out what's happening with Elephant Money, where it's going, and how we can get involved and feel confident in investing at this point because the project is over 2 years old and it has done a lot of amazing things. So, from Elephant Money, from the team, Bankteller's here. Sir, if you could please introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what are your jobs and responsibilities with the project, and then we can dissect it, everything that's going on with Elephant Money. Please go ahead.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys at MMK Cuzzo. Um, I am BT Bankteller. Yeah, please feel free to just call me BT. Uh, I also go by uh, Tony Perkins, and I've been in fintech for a very long time. Been a computer scientist for a very long time. So basically, coding since I was 10 and played chess, was a chess champion and all that. I'm from Philly. I'm from Philadelphia. Um, and uh, let's see, did the whole MIT thing, um, did the fintech consulting thing. Uh, then I started working for State Street and for a little bit, and then Fidelity. During my time at State Street, I actually got into Bitcoin in 2011. So, I met Roger Ver, Eric Voorhees at the first International Bitcoin Conference in summer 2011. So I was mining Bitcoin when it was less than $1. Built my own GPUs. Probably one of the biggest lessons learned in my life because you know, if anything, just buy the coin. Just buy and hodl the coin. And this was at a time when we didn't know what hodl was, right? It wasn't even a term. So, but yeah, mined 135 Bitcoin with miners that I paid $3,000 for when I probably could have bought a lot more Bitcoin for the same amount of money and just sat on it. So lesson learned. And then you know, my wife at the time, she wasn't, she didn't really like the Bitcoin miners. So, and they were making a lot of noise and heat in the living room. So I kind of set that down, and then I just kept my eye on Bitcoin and just went about my way. Uh, and I said, after I saw it kind of taken off, I said, if I ever get back in this crypto thing, I promise myself I won't quit. And yeah, that was the main thing there is, don't quit. Um, Went on to be CTO at Fidelity. That's how they got me back into fintech. They needed some work done with a document management system for like all the important documents for like a Fidelity customer. So I did that for a bit, and then I transitioned to personal investing and helped teams build customer facing projects for like 401k and for trading and things like that. Um, and actually at State Street, I did I built a pretty big foreign exchange trading system that's still running today, FX Connect. So that's an institutional trading system, probably the largest in the world. So that's kind of where I got my nickname BT.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Gotcha. Man, it's It's a lot there. Obviously, you've been in crypto for a while. Like I said, the project, its market cap, the sentiment of holders speak for itself. So, we won't go too much into it. But last time I checked, your TVL is probably over 40 mil. I'm probably being conservative, so you could just definitely, feel free to dish out those numbers to us. But at this time, like you said, there's a lot of us. We look at the market cap and then we're looking at it's 2 years old, if it's early, if it's late. We don't know what's happening. We also see NFTs. We see, 0.5% daily, and we also see 1% here or there. So there's a lot going on with Elephant.Money, and there's as many people that you guys have already invested, probably 20 to 30,000. But there are a lot of them in here, especially that are not involved. So if you don't mind giving kind of like description of the project that would make people understand, other than just saying it's a passive income project, but what makes it different? Because obviously you guys are different. You guys are successful where others haven't been. So those credentials are already there. So if you don't mind just giving a brief explanation of what Elephant.Money really is when you're looking at it at the face value.
Yeah, I haven't even gotten to haven't even gotten there. Sorry. I'm just trying to make this as comprehensive as possible. Um, so you know, wrapping up who beat you'll figure out why I gave that long thing because elephants really two things, but like uh started doing DeFi 6 years ago. After I was enamored by a couple of projects on ETH. This is actually my third project. So I started something called Party on Ethereum, and then I did Bankroll on Tron. And Bankroll on Tron is where things kind of crystallized. But I've basically been building this community. So everyone you see that's invested now in Elephant.Money, uh, the core of that community has been with me for the past 6+ years. So, and the mission has been cash flow for all. So basically, when I saw Ethereum, I was like, this is and understand and being a long time OG Bitcoiner. My approach to Ethereum and being in fintech for as long as I have been, my approach to Ethereum was I'm treating Ethereum like I can build something as robust as Bitcoin, but it's going to be a financial cooperative. So this isn't a passive income project. It's a community bank. If you're going to describe it in 2 words, it's a community bank, but or a financial cooperative. That's what the goal has always been. And so when I saw Ethereum and really understood it, I was like, I'm going to build a financial engine that focuses uh, financial attention and cooperation to solve the problem of cash flow for all. And I started building tons of experiments, um, and basically working with core building blocks, inventing core building blocks, um, and yeah, and the rest is, well, modern history, I guess. But but we're still working on it. But I think we've pretty much cracked the code. And what you have here with Elephant.Money is you basically have a two-sided marketplace. You have a store of value with the elephant token, which was modeled after a RFI token, a reflect token, has a 10% tax. RFI tokens are special. The reason why RFI tokens are special is because they provide value capture, and you need value capture to create store value. Uh, it is much more powerful than Bitcoin. Bitcoin has decentralization, um, but at the end of the day, it's still just a speculative asset. The value of Bitcoin is nominally backed by uh, the infrastructure and resources that miners expend. So that gives it like a book value for Bitcoin, right? If you look at the hashing power for Bitcoin, that's the book value, right? With their spending on that hash power. But then after that, it's all speculative, and markets can crash if it's just speculative. It doesn't matter how much sunk costs you put into the network. If people don't value the network, it won't hold the price. And we've seen that with Bitcoin time and time again. The other problem with Bitcoin is now it's beholden to TradFi infrastructure, and it's and because it was the it because it basically established this market. It also has the problem of centralized exchanges, which means that its price is tied to um, distributed order books around the world, right? So you and right now we also have an issue where there's low liquidity around the world. Like there's not enough Bitcoin on exchanges, right? And also so the order books are thin, and also lastly, the problem with Bitcoin is there's a ton of paper Bitcoin out there because of all of the leverage products and futures products. So Bitcoin is going to be saddled similar to gold, um, but in the short term, you will see Bitcoin potentially surpass gold in terms of market cap, because of the activities that are going on with the institutional firms, the large money managers, Fidelity, BlackRock, and the banks. They're going to get their seat at the table. You're going to see Bitcoin and the market rise. I would say easily, 10 trillion market, in the next uh, 5 to 10 years. But after that, it'll kind of peter out. So we'll all make money, but that's just to give you the landscape for what Bitcoin is. Now with Elephant, it's different, and we've made a lot of choices. Sticking with just talking about the token, we've made a lot of choices so that everything we do beyond the token allows us to basically produce the price chart that you've seen, which is basically up and to the right. There's never really a bad time to get into Elephant because the price is governed by the constant product formula. And what that is basically any Uniswap V2 liquidity pool is governed by the constant product formula. When you add liquidity, you take two sets of tokens, you say these are equal. So X times Y equals K. That K is maintained. So as tokens come in and out, that K is always maintained. So that's how you can derive a price. And what we do at Elephant is we're constantly building liquidity while we're actually pumping the counterparty token in, which is basically we're pumping BNB in, or we're pumping BUSD in. Elephant.Money is the second largest on-chain holder of WBNB. Will probably be the largest holder before the end of the year. So we have around 85K right now of BNB, and we are also the largest holder of BUSD. We'll probably be diversifying our stablecoin backing. But just to round out what's going on with the Elephant token, so if you guys are familiar with SafeMoon and other RFI tokens, it does the value capture with the taxes. It has built-in liquidity building, and then we have an ecosystem of contracts around that, which not only build liquidity but control the circulating supply. So core to the Elephant token itself, it was launched with a LDE, a liquidity drive event. Um, it This liquidity drive event passes the Howey test. It was not. We didn't create a security when we did it. The number one reason why is because everyone who participated in the LDE uh, went in without the expectation of profit. Uh, 50% of the funds raised in the LDE, uh, or sorry, 100% of the funds raised in the LDE back liquidity, and 50% of the tokens were sent to a graveyard. And that's important because that graveyard is locked forever. And so what that means is that for every dollar that somebody put into the LDE, the tokens that they received were worth half as much at the start of the project. So basically, everyone there, all of the founders there at the beginning of the genesis of Elephant uh, did so, um, basically sacrificing their funds to establish a floor that can never be dumped. But they also went in knowing that they were going to start out at a loss, um, at least monetarily. Um, so that is the elephant token. Uh, and like I said, there's a graveyard that basically holds half of the supply, circulating supply. Then we have a treasury, and that treasury we affectionately call Bertha. She's the second largest holder in the ecosystem. She's the whale that will not dump, the largest human holder in the ecosystem, only has 0.8% supply. That person is not me. I am ranked. I am ranked like I think 65 in terms of holders. Unfortunately, there was a time when I had 21 trillion tokens. Shortly after the LDE, in like year one, when we were kind of in the flats in the chart, um, where there wasn't a lot of use case for the token, and I hadn't built all the things that I built since. Um, but then after, and so to kind of support the price, I was very heavy in BNB and things like that. So I just bought up the token, and I had 21 trillion. Then I started just thinking to myself, I don't want to be the biggest holder of elephants. I don't. I want to. I've been serving the community for many years now. At that point, and I was like, I don't want to be the largest holder of this. So as soon as I can get rid of these, I will. And so I built Stampede, which I guess you could say is sort of like a just a straightforward passive income um, uh, contract, and that started to establish a two-sided marketplace. So now you have the holders of the elephant token, but now you have a front office, like the first front office product, which is basically this sort of quasi stablecoin using Trunk, and you're earning predictable yield off of that, uh, and you're basically bonding your funds in like an annuity type product. Those people in that front office, people who are seeking yield, they're price insensitive to what's going on with Elephant. So they're constant. So when they make their deposits, we can do buybacks, and when we do buybacks, um, we can feed the treasury. So just like Apple has money, has sort of products all around, has tons of products that are earning all this income. And the way that they reward Apple holders is they basically use all that cash flow. They have more cash than they know what to do with. There's a ton of offshore cash that they can't even bring back to the States. But they basically buy back the Apple stock, and that's what raises the price. That's why Apple is largest stock in the world, and similarly, that's why Elephant is the is actually the best performing digital asset for the past 2 years out of the top 100. So we beat Bitcoin, Ethereum, and you can see that in the chart. And we do that with the buybacks. And the main thing that we've been doing since, well, I'll speak about the exploit in a second, is the main thing you got to remember is two-sided marketplace. Every product that you see that's not the elephant token, probably there to uh, apply pressure in use case, because we can always pay the yield back because we're borrowing cash in present time. As soon as we inject it into the liquidity pools, which are locked, by the way. So those liquidity pools, we have 66 million, sorry, I correct myself, 67 million in liquidity, locked liquidity on chain between the Elephant WBNB pool and the Elephant BUSD pool. Overall, we have over 300 million in TVL now. And that's going to be moving quickly as the Elephant token grows. Basically, you're never late in the Elephant token because of the constant product formula. The way you want to think about it is constant buy volume, net buy volume. If you just take constant net buy volume, let's say we were only doing like 100K every day. As long as, and because we have the two pools, we basically load balance against those pools. We didn't have those two pools in the first year when we went parabolic, so we went very sharp against BNB. But now, since we load balance, we have a built-in backstop. So when BNB goes down, Elephant kind of still hovers, stays up. And then because of the buy pressure from all the front office activities, we usually can net out to a positive for the day. So we basically have an anchor in the BUSD LP all the time. And then when funds are coming in, we'll usually surpass whatever the downdraft is on the BNB side. So that's why we always, if you look at the daily candles, you'll see more green than red, but you'll see a lot of jitter because of BNB. If you look at the weekly candles, they're always green. And so the best way to sort of analyze the health of Elephant, I always look at the weekly candle chart. And then if you look at the monthly, that just tells you the general story and trajectory of where we're going. I'll pause there and take some questions.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get to the questions. I mean, as you were talking, I was taking notes, and I kind of liked how you referred Elephant.Money to a bank of DeFi. I like the comparison of Bitcoin being saddled or whatnot. Yeah, it's pretty accurate. And it goes with, you notice that your liquidity is paired with BNB, so and with stable anchoring, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, and yes, we could get to the exploit and all that stuff. But you did compare Elephant.Money to Apple and some of the others, and having you mentioned bank. So I'm thinking that you're considering your product as a revenue-based products that are constantly pumping the value of Elephant.Money. And I don't know if you want to talk about how do you see that continue to happen, and what are the safeguards in place in case the buy pressure slows down, and how would you guys manage that part?
Okay, so that's a great question, and so I do have a business background as well. I'm a sort of avid learner of business. Tons of case studies. I would go through when I was working on my MS. Which State Street paid for. Thank you very much, State Street. But McDonald's comes to mind. McDonald's comes to mind for a couple reasons, but the main thing you need to know is that McDonald's is one of the largest real estate companies in the world, and we'll talk about that with NFTs. But also, just in terms of what most people perceive as their core business is real estate. But in terms of what the franchisees present to the customer, they're selling hamburgers, right? So what does Elephant Money sell? We sell yield. Um, the demand for yield is not going away. If you can sell, sell high risk
I
adjusted yield, you'll make a lot of money. So we sell yield and design of our products. So uh, we'll stick with futures. We'll talk about futures. So futures is a stable coin version of Stampede, or Stampede is as well, but Trunk is depegged because of the exploit and everything. But so I said, well, those sort of passive income
and BT,
projects. Yep.
BT, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I think we're having a bit of a connection problem on your end. It's a little bit choppy. I don't know if anybody else is noticing that.
Yeah, I noticed it as well. I thought it was me.
Okay, let's try it again and see if it happens, and then maybe you want to rejoin. So let's continue. I'll let you know.
Let me see, because I'm getting a little static in my headphones. 1 second. 1 second.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. I like I like how you put it. Selling yield as a product. I don't think many people pay attention to yield that way. Uh, People in the real world do understand the securities, do understand the certificates of deposits they're earning yield, and those are the products that our bank are selling. So, um, yeah, obviously there's a big brain involved. So let's see if BT's back.
Can you hear me now?
That's loud and clear.
Okay, as long as I'm not getting any echo, I'm just gonna use speakerphone.
We're
Okay,
good.
let me do one more thing if I can. Let me just try that so we don't get these dings. Okay, so that should be working. Right, so BUSD in, BUSD out, 0.5% a day. Um, we're collecting cash again, present time. As soon as we inject into LPs, we get that we're traveling along that exponential curve that's defined by the constant product. In our case, we have sorry, not exponential, parabolic curve. But we have two curves that we're traveling along at right now. In the first in year one, we only had one because we hadn't built up the BUSD pool. Now we have two mature pools. They're almost the same size. And so we're constantly load balancing against those. But for every dollar that we get in, net positive dollar we get in, we're just going to travel along that curve. And then we're also building liquidity, sort of maintaining that curve, sometimes deepening, sort of stretching that curve out, pushing it over and to the right. But we're always traveling up it. Nothing in the world can stop us from basically going parabolic, right? If we take in enough cash, we will be somewhere along that the sort of hockey stick part of that curve. And for us to do, for example, 100x, we have to take in about 60 million more of just straight positive buy volume. And will we be able to achieve that goal? We launched NFTs. We raised $2 million. Before even injecting it into the LPs, we raised $2 million in less than 30 days. So we sold out round one, selling 10,000 NFTs priced at 1 BNB. Now those same NFTs are priced at 2 BNB. We'll be releasing on Marketplace later today for resale. Bertha will be getting 30% on the resale. The pricing is 10% less than the current market price. Market price doubles every round. So this round it's 2 BNB, next round will be 4 BNB. So um, uh, that's like a feedback loop, because you know the NFT model is sort of close to, like, you want to think about it like owning NFT is like owning a square foot of New York real estate, and you get a certain amount of return on that, and you're getting price appreciation because every round the value of your NFTs is double. So everyone who participated in round one, their price of their NFTs have already doubled. They've already doubled their money. When I release the marketplace today, that marketplace becomes liquid. Um, people can't price their NFTs because we're a financial cooperative. So even with different rarities and things like that, we have different colors, whatever. The black cards get you into elephant events for free. We'll be throwing, a year from now, we'll be throwing concerts with major artists and things like that. We'll be using a portion, uh, a small, very small fraction, to basically throw, elephant conference, festivals, things like that, to make those black cards those black NFTs valuable, and you can use those for general admission. Um, so the NFT product has been very successful. The cool thing about the NFT product, in short, is that it's not dependent on stable coins, and it does what it needs to do in terms of basically selling hamburgers on the front end. So basically, McDonald's is not going to go out of business because hamburgers are delicious, right? And because hamburgers are delicious, um, think of the burgers as literally the dollars that you're collecting. Because hamburgers are delicious, franchisees will purchase the real estate, the NFTs, from McDonald's, and set up shop to sell hamburgers locally in their market, in their regional market. So so the NFTs work just like McDonald's, um, and um, I think the demand is self-reinforcing. And then we have futures, which is which you can do a 4 to 5x depending on how you manage your sort of annuity that you're building. So it's sort of like a self-directed annuity, cash-based annuity, and those are the two main front end products. And then Stampede, backed by Trunk, is like the third, and that's kind of hamstring because of the exploit. But we have basically two front end products running on all cylinders. When Stampede gets into the mix, and like so, that happens when the treasury has to be like a order of magnitude and change bigger, 10x bigger than the circulating supply of Trunk token to be able to support the Trunk token and keep it at peg. We've proven that we can keep it at peg. It had very low volatility and stayed around $1 until the exploit. And so what we can do there is we have governance contracts now which protect the treasury. So the treasury before was uh, connected to some front end activities, mint redeem activities, just like Luna and other stable coins to come before it. After our flash loan exploit, I changed the architecture of how that worked. So now we have governance contracts, which basically have a budget. That budget is defined by a annual APR that gets paid out in real time. So basically, if the governance contract is executed, it can request, 24 hours worth of funds from the treasury, and get those funds, but no more than 24 hours worth. And those governance contracts are executed by the community. So there's like sweep functions all over the protocol that people can execute, and it'll kick off the governance contracts to do various sort of housekeeping activities to move money around, primarily in and out of the treasury, to service yield, or to support liquidity pools, or to buy back elephant tokens from secondary treasuries, which hold BNB and BUSD and whatever else we're collecting. So I'll pause right there.
Yeah. So, you know, this whole analogy with the burgers and McDonald's, it's totally hitting home with me. And now I am starting to get why this project is so popular. I am sure you guys have a large amount of holders from Web2. So I guess I'll make one comment, and if you could kind of walk me through it, and then we'll open up to questions, and we'll just handle it that way. There's so many projects that have come and gone when it came to passive income. Okay, and almost all of them have failed, right? And you guys are continued success. So when people from the outside looking in, they're looking at the market cap, they're looking at this chart that is just continue to grow, 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 and you don't know where to find an entry. You don't know if it's early or late. Yes, you did go over briefly why it's not late. If you can, for me at least, draw a sharp contrast as to why they failed and why are you succeeding and will continue to succeed? Because I think that will hit home with a lot of people, including me, to have a little bit of confidence that, hey, even if it's 2 years into a project, there's a lot more than just people looking at a market cap or calling it Ponzi or whatnot. But if you could draw that contrast between the failures and the successes.
Okay, so well, there's this thing called the Lindy effect, which I know most of you guys know about, which basically means the longer you're running, the better the chance that you're going to keep on running, right? And so from that perspective, this is not a 2-year-old project. This is a 6+ year mission, and we finally have our vehicle that we can keep growing and expanding. So there's all if you look at founders in general, their success, their hit wasn't necessarily their first rodeo, right? So in my case, frankly, I've just been in the business of fintech for my whole career, right? And basically building software, you know, as a passion of mine for since I was a kid. So for me, I'm just doing what I'm doing. So I guess the first thing that makes Elephant different, and that comes down to the core team, is that, I mean, I've written every single smart contract. I've worked with, some of the best auditors in the world to make sure the Elephant is buttoned up. I've worked with Certic, I've worked with PeckShield, I've worked with a small outfit, Solidity Finance, that does a lot of work for like some of the small fish, like, and we've scrubbed and gone over these contracts many times. A lot of the core contracts that are running. So just from just to talk about security perspective, because it's like we're talking about why Elephant won't fail, right? So first of all, at the base layer, which is I would consider the token layer, um, the contracts are fully immutable. Elephant has a whitelist, so when certain governance contracts come online, they have to be whitelisted. But that just controls the 10% tax. So the only thing that can change with the Elephant token is a 10% tax. That's locked down. The liquidity is locked down with PCS. So the liquidity pool tokens are owned by the trunk token and the Elephant token. So that's at that base layer. Everything's immutable. And so if you look at even the exploit, the Elephant token didn't fail. The trunk token didn't fail. It was just this mint redeem contract that failed. We fixed that, and then we built additional security measures and processes around protecting the treasury. So from that perspective, the major risk to the protocol has always been smart contract risk, and that smart contract risk with the new design, it's been running 2 weeks after 2 weeks post exploit. Those security measures were in place because I was already working on them. So I was at a conference. I was at the Bitcoin 22 conference. I was working on these updates and just didn't have a chance to push the button before the attackers did what they did. Um, but that motivated me to come up with additional innovations like the governance contracts and things like that, uh, which are in place today. So that exploit was the best thing for us. I call that our Superman 2 moment, so where basically, Clark walks into a diner twice in that movie. First time he gets his ass kicked, second time, he shows the bully what's what. And if you look at the chart, you know, we pretty much picked ourselves up right after the exploit. Chart never stopped going up. But, right now, here we are a little bit more than a year later, we're really showing the bully what's what, right? We're showing the industry what's what. And our sort of like some of our last final bosses are, getting our circulating supply properly listed on coin market cap. So in terms of like, if you're wondering if you're early, um, um, you know, with my experience with Bitcoin, and because everyone's general knowledge about Bitcoin, I said, well, we have a large supply. We stuck with that supply because we do want people to be using this for a very long time, and we want them to be able to rationalize it with whole numbers. So we're going to stick with the 1 trillion, or sorry, so with the 1 quadrillion, the 1,000 trillion. We're going to stick with that number. Um, but we need to basically, because people are in general bad with big numbers and small numbers, we need to be able to rationalize it somehow. So that's why we came up with the Bitcoin adjusted supply. So if you go on the site, if you go into the Elephant page, you click Elephant, you go into the Elephant page, you'll see this thing called, you'll see a Bitcoin symbol, and you see a price. That Bitcoin adjusted price, the supply adjusted price, is $14. We all know that Bitcoin right now is like what, $25,000 right now. So that's the opportunity. $14 Bitcoin is where we're at right now. So we just broke into the top 100 again. We're not properly listed, which basically means that we're being suppressed. Um, if we were properly listed, the sucking sound from other projects letting go of their market cap and it flowing into Elephant would be deafening. So that's kind of where we're at. So if you hear my voice right now, you definitely are early. Like this is supposed to be syndicated to a couple of groups. If you hear my voice right now, the supply adjusted price is, I think, $14.79, 14.79 Bitcoin. Elephant is a store value. It's outperformed Bitcoin for the past 2 years. Even with an exploit, you are early. I'm going down to Atlanta tomorrow. I'll be meeting with Mike Novogratz for the third time face to face. The last time I talked to him, the question was, why BNB? And I told him, I said, CZ is a great operator. Binance is the leader. BNB chain, you might not like it, but BNB chain is the leader in in terms of active daily users, amount of activity on chain, TVL, all that. And based on what we're doing as a community, and once we get the word out properly, it's going to remain that way, whether the SEC or the big banks like it or not. So at the end of the day, we're a decentralized project. BNB chain is decentralized. It's not a beauty queen, but it works. And a lot of people kind of ask me, why did you choose Binance Smart Chain? I was like, I've been working with real communities trying to provide real on-chain solutions for financial freedom, And the fees and the clunkiness of the early change, whether it be Ethereum or Tron, those are the things that, you know, held us back. Binance, once they delivered their once they delivered BSC, it was, I was like, we're done. We're done here. Like this works. We're done. A lot of people ask, why aren't you, are you going to do multi-chain or whatever? I'm like, if you understand finance, then you understand that, you know, fragmenting your liquidity across multiple chains, th- that's not necessary. It's easier to that's detrimental to how even the constant product works, right? You need that pressure on that LP, right? There's no way to there's no way to shard or decentralize that LP. You need to have concentrated liquidity to be able to move price. And so I think, getting onto centralized exchanges, uh, fragmenting your liquidity, those are all death sentences for price. And that's why you see a
Man,
lot of blow off tops when products get listed on like Binance. That's like the final hurrah, because then it goes from,
man, you are you are hitting so many good things. I hope people are paying attention. When you're talking about a fragmented and dilution of your holders going to different chains, man. How many projects that do that and kind of do that it's a mistake. Yes, I totally agree with you. um so I mean, I had listen, I have so many questions when it comes to the legal side of it, and what you guys are doing and how you're showing everyone in BSC that you can run a successful project. So what I'll do is I'll withhold my questions because it's been about 50 minutes since we are kind of giving an overview of the project. I think this is a good time to take some questions. Are you okay with that if we let some of the
yeah,
members
that's
ask the
perfectly fine.
questions?
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to
All
make a
right, let's
comment.
open it up.
I want to make a comment real quick because I'm on the road and I might cut out here shortly. But since I came into the space, into DeFi, Elephant Money was one of the first projects that I actually got into because SK Crypto K is basically the individual that got me into DeFi, and he, that was basically he was promoting Bankteller, from the start, right, in Elephant Money. And there's a little bit of history to be known about Bankteller, and I came into the VC a little bit late. I don't know if it was said or not about the history, but you talked about why these ROI dApps and things have failed within the space. Well, let it be known that Bankteller is basically the originator. He is the pioneer that started the ROI dApps. When it came to Drip, when it came to all these other projects that are failing, that maybe had success for a little while, but did fail in the end, they're all clones of Bankteller's original concept, and that was bankroll flow, right? So why Bankteller is so successful is a couple of things. It is the drive that he has to continue to proceed and build on his protocol, even when an exploit happens, which would crush most people. What did he do? He stuck his nose to the grindstone. It's trial and error that he's been through. Like I said, he's been a pioneer in this space. Hung out with him many times over in my friend's chat over at Degen Protocol, and all he is constantly doing is building and building this protocol, the Elephant Money. I mean, like he says, when he says that you're if you're hearing his voice right now, you're early, and that's the facts because the community that's behind it, the known the people that know about Elephant Money in the space, in this little corner of crypto that we are in, is a massive community that's behind the project. We can see that by the liquidity that's in the project, the holders that are in the project, and what he's done since the exploit, just put his nose to the grindstone, continued to build, and brought this thing back. And if every individual in here that owns a channel or that has a community is not promoting this as one of the top projects, even if it's on the BSC, I know a lot of people don't like BSC, and are on the ETH side and things like that, but this has withstood the test of time. even in the worst bear market that we've seen in a long time, what has Elephant Money done? It's came back from the trouble it had, and it's continually just on this parabolic run to go straight up. And that's what it's going to do. And you can either get in or not get in, but you're going to be sitting there one day saying, you know what? I should have been holding a little bit of Elephant, even if it's not a massive bag. But everybody in this VC should be having a little bit of Elephant Money in their pocket, for sure.
DS, I totally value your opinion, and I agree with you. I wish you had kind of twisted my arm a while ago and told me to invest here rather than some of the one of the other one that I did not fare so well. But I'm glad that you're here and then you're sharing your opinion. BT, I don't know if you want to speak to that because I know DS has always spoken highly of Elephant Money, and I know for a fact a couple of projects that are actually investing their treasury into you guys. It's that much confidence around for who's who in this space.
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words. Just to reflect on that, I talked to a friend. I hadn't talked to her in a while, um, and I set her up with 100 billion or 138 billion uh, elephant when it was really really cheap, and she's just a just a school teacher, um, and she's pretty much just familiar with the struggle, right? And I just checked on her account, make sure she hadn't sold any, and just see how much it was. And I was like, whoa, that's like $43,000. I was like, and plus, I always when I talk to people, I was like, they're saying, well, how much do you need? I was like, well, if you can, I was begging people to get a trillion at three at between 1 and 3K. I was like, now's the time to get like a trilly bag, become a trillionaire. We have memes where like with Rick Ross, like saying 1 trillion, whatever. But like, but then it was like 100 billion. That's the millionaire maker, and now it's like 10 billion. Yeah, that's probably the millionaire maker too. So in the very short term. So I think it's still a really good time for people to get in right now and still be able to have a really nice return in the short term, just because of the math, just because of the math and momentum. Um, I've looked at some of the, for a while, I participated in many of the clones. I've given, I've had meetings with the founders of those projects and stuff, to kind of give advice and stuff because cash flow for all doesn't mean elephant and nothing else, right? I had to correct somebody in the chat the other day and just say, hey, look, we're just a cog. Like we're not trying to take over. Like don't even like saying traditional TradFi is dead and stuff. Don't even go there. Like we're just, if anything, we're just a business. And when people want to understand whether they want to invest in businesses or not, they just look at the balance sheet. So we have a balance sheet and a basic prospectus like everybody else, and a seasoned investor should be able to basically be able to look at our P&L and make a decision about whether they want to participate or not. So we're not special in that, right? We happen to be well aligned with fintech because our business is fintech. We're a we're a financial services business on chain. That's how we make money. We sell yield. Uh, but we're not a replacement for TradFi. I told people just the other day, I said, hey, the best thing you can do for yourself, especially when it comes to ramping money on and off, is to have a good relationship with a local regional bank because those businesses will fight for those businesses they'll fight for your business. The big four, at least in America, you know they'll kick you off. If they think that, especially with crypto stuff, they'll kick you off for that. But like I've had a 28-year relationship with my bank. eh, They've seen every single bit of cash that's come in and out of my account. So they would, so they don't care. So, and they take care of me. So, but that's the kind of relationship you can have.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Next question, guys, anyone? All right. I guess I will ask a question around legal advice. And you spoke briefly about SEC and whatnot. Well, as people gather their mind about what they want to ask, do you have any comment on that one? How people should view this, driving value from efforts of others? I don't know if this really applies. It probably doesn't because everyone's leveraging their each other's liquidity. How would you see that and answer that question?
Right. The way you want to be thinking about Elephant as a on-chain product, it's just a natural evolution of liquidity pool providers. That's a fairly well understood business. That's on-chain. Are you deriving? Are the people who are swapping tokens? Are the other liquidity pool providers? Are, are they gaining benefit from each other? If you look at Uniswap V2, V3, that is also a financial cooperative. It's a financial cooperative. It's a co-op, and it's on chain, um, and there was no sale of securities involved. Similar to us, our inception was very much piggybacking on that original co-op model, and then we're an extension of that. So at the core of our product, same thing. There's a couple tokens. There's a couple liquidity pools. They were established without any private or public sale, right? We just established those pools, and then we start, and that's the product. That's the token. You can start swapping the token after the pools are established. So far, nothing different than Uniswap. And then after you do that, that establishes the context uh, for what the overall offering is, and it's a commodity. So, and then um, think of it like growing corn. Okay, great. We have a cornfield now. Now people are bringing in trucks. Now people are building in, are bringing in harvesters. Now people are bringing in silos. Things. We're building infrastructure around this core commodity, right? Now people are selling it at the farmers market. Now people are, you know, preparing it, putting butter on it for you. you know, that's basically what Elephant Money looks like today. So where Uniswap kind of ends, we basically built more comprehensive infrastructure around it to provide things that look like annuity accounts, to provide things that look like real estate with the NFTs. The NFTs are very early, by the way. Demand will increase. The APRs on those will go up as we kind of rest at a particular round, at the end of a round, and then um, funds are still coming in from the other front offices, pumping up the Elephant token, and just straight people buying the Elephant token. APR goes back up, demand for um, NFTs resumes, and plus now the same unit of NFTs is now it's pumping twice the amount of money into the treasury. So that's how that works.
Well,
Can
when
I
you're
say something,
talking,
Kuzo?
yes, go ahead, Arn.
Thanks. So yeah, listen, Bankteller, I love everything that you've said. I only discovered Elephant Money a week or so ago, thanks to Crypto Ken. I think you guys are a monster. I love it. I aped when he told me to, around 200, and I'm pulling for you guys. I think it's a. I think it's a. We've had a couple projects that have come through here that are on BSC that have done well. You guys have done exceedingly well, so hats off to you. I think it's great, and I love your analogies, by the way, especially the McDonald's one. Uh, great job with everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Arn. When you were talking about NFTs, it's like you're speaking my language. Now, as I understood it, and maybe I was wrong, that these were not limited, these were unlimited. Am I wrong, or we're discussing series here that, series 1, 2, 3, and so forth? So if you could just shed the light on NFTs, because I feel like that's probably the first entry for a lot of people that going in now, because I did see 1% of some fund. I did not completely understood it, but was 1% of something was going towards all the NFT holders, and they do have to stake it, of course. So if you could please speak about that, and if you're still able to mint, and you did say it's about 2 BNB, but are they limited or are they unlimited?
Unlimited. So the supply is not capped. So every 10,000 mints, the price to mint doubles. And then we're releasing a marketplace. I'll probably do that after I get my hair cut for Atlanta. But there's a marketplace that's going to be released now, where you can list your NFT and sell it for 10% below the mint price. You can't price your NFT that you're selling, but you can hold on to your NFT and wait for rounds to increase. So everyone who paid 1 BNB, if they do want to resell in say round 3, they'll be selling it at 4 BNB minus fees. But yeah, you can mint at any time. Right now it's 2 BNB, and the APR is 22%, and that's calculated based on where the actual real yield is coming from. Is the second largest holder of Elephant, Bertha, the Treasury. She's the one that pays out yield, whether it be for Trunk, or in all the products built around Trunk, whether it be for futures, which is the product built around BUSD, or whether it be or I shouldn't say built around BUSD, basically the cash version of the annuity that doesn't depend on a stable coin, because we can actually swap out BUSD for, like, say, USDC if we want, without changing anything, without skipping a beat. All of those front office products, that yield, it basically starts with, like, taking some Elephant. In the case of the NFTs, that Elephant is shuttled directly over to the staking contract. But in most other ones, it's that Elephant is sold, transformed, and then sent where it needs to go. But getting back to the NFTs, it's 1%. There's these governance contracts, and for the NFTs, they're funded with 1% of the treasury. So at any given time, you take 1% of the treasury, divide that by 365. That's the 24-hour yield that governance contract can request for in real time. It'll send that over to the staking contract for the NFTs, and then based on whatever your share of the supply staked is, you'll receive that much yield paid out in Elephant. So the NFTs are kind of like a first. It's the first time you're actually getting paid in an appreciating parabolic asset. So if you, like, made $40, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that, since it's getting paid in Elephant, and with that rising value, yeah, it's like you're hitting those two things that you would want in your passive income portfolio. but yeah, so now I understand it that every 10,000 that get minted, the price escalates. And I guess you are restricting the secondary on these on your own marketplace. Are they restricted from selling elsewhere on other marketplaces? Because people could sell it for whatever they want. I guess you're restricting it on your platform. How are you handling that part?
So it's your property at the end of the day. You can transfer, trade that property however you see fit. So there's no restrictions there. Uh, OpenSea, I had a long conversation with OpenSea. Um, they well, they didn't ban us outright, but like, you can't trade on OpenSea. And now I know why, because they always had the plan of like not supporting BSC. So they gave me some bullshit reasons why we couldn't list, but at the end of the day, they didn't want to support BSC. So I think that they're shooting themselves in the foot, actually. Um,
Totally are, especially after going after the creator fees and royalties and whatnot. I think they're gonna prop up their own competition. But hey guys, anybody that has a question, feel free to interrupt me anytime and ask that. We're just having a conversation with BT. But continue, BT, continue telling us about everything.
I mean, that's pretty much it on the NFTs. Um, like I said, that if you have a black NFT that allows you to get free admission to any events that we'll be having in the future, and we should be announcing. We'll be announcing events early in the new year.
These are randomized, right? It's not like you can mint the black one, or could you?
Oh, you can mint it.
Okay,
You can mint it. Yeah.
okay, but they are all at the same price. You could just choose to mint the black one if you like.
Right. You get lucky. You minted a black one. It uses the same rarity calculations as Uniswap's NFTs for
All right,
V3.
that sounds good. Sounds good. Hey, Hulk, I know we've had some DMs regarding this project, and you said you might have a question or two. Do you want to ask your question, bro? I see him typing, so maybe he cannot speak. Okay. All right. All right. All right. All
Cuzzo,
right.
Cuzzo,
Please go ahead. Yes, sir.
Cuzzo, you might want to get Bankteller to run through the futures and explain how powerful the futures contract is as well, because I
Hey,
think it's
Jess.
absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. BT, go for it, man. We're here to learn from you. I don't think anybody here is going to give an advice on how to do anything, what's wrong, what's right. But we're all in awe. We admiring your success. So we're here to learn about how we can get involved with Elephant and all the things that are going in. So please do talk about your futures.
Okay, sure, no problem. And by the way, like I I always take positive and negative feedback. A lot of the products that you see today were birthed out of negative feedback or what could be perceived as feedback, a negative feedback. I basically consider it, especially when I'm trying to build a service that works for people. Almost no feedback is negative, or I don't take it negatively, because you know there's a root reason, or there's a need that's not being met, because it's not about me. I'm not on chain. It's about the code that's on chain. So it's the code that needs to serve people, and um, doing it for so long, I don't take it personally. I write good code and bad code all the time. And you just have to take your time when releasing it, have good hygiene that way, so that the code that you do release is good, and that there's been multiple eyeballs on it before it goes out. Everything works out. But anyway, getting back to futures, um, So futures is an evolution. I would say, like me personally, I'm gonna have one futures account, maybe two. Uh, I think future before I'm done with futures and Stampede, they will be migrated from like being locked to an account to being the account management will be done with NFTs, so that you can have so that a single address can manage or multiple futures accounts. But beyond that, um, futures is kind of like the end game for the original bankroll flow, cash flow engine, uh, all the clones you've seen of like flow or drip or whatever. The like futures is like the end stage for that. Um, I find it horribly clunky. I find it to not necessarily. It works. I mean, you can get a 4 to 5x out of it if you manage it properly. So it works. Um, and since it's backed by the Elephant Treasury, at the end of the day, you know, she's using those Bertha's using those cash deposits, to do the buybacks and boost the price. So, as you can see with the NFTs, uh, you can you can basically bootstrap the treasury, or you can fund the treasury with any business. Like and futures is just one business on chain, but in any revenue generating business on chain, can be can the net profits can be used to bolster the treasury. And so I think for futures, you know it's the best version of that passive, cash flow engine. It has the right limiters in place. It has the right dials in place, um, to make sure that it's sustainable. To make sure that you don't have runaway compounding of either the balance in an account or the number of accounts. Um, Basically, the only way you can compound in futures is with a cash deposit. So it takes the minimum deposit is $200, and the only other operation you have outside of deposits is to claim. So the way that works is to earn any kind of real yield, you have to deposit at least twice, and that's generally how it works. It's very You have to manage the account. Like um, if you go 200 days without compounding, or if you um, accrue $50,000 in available yield, it just stops working. You have to either claim or you have to make another deposit to fold that yield back in. Um, it's a lot of more work than just buying an NFT and staking it. So, and it depends on stable coins. So, to a certain extent, just in and out though. And I don't think depending on stable coins is a big. Just to quickly speak on that, depending on stable coins, to be worried about being dependent on stable coins. I guess and that's me kind of like. Uh, I was just taken aback, with all the work that I spoke to the Paxos team directly, and to see what they did to Binance, because BUSD was not, to give people some insight, BUSD was not Binance's product. BUSD was the brainchild of like a SVP there at Paxos. They came to Binance and they license, the Binance name, and they release BUSD. But then with just the littlest poke from regulators, they threw Binance under the bus, all to just release the same exact product. Um, they only have one product, and then they release it. They release it under a different name. They license it to people, or they basically are a service provider, right? They're a service provider at the end of the day, and they to release that to PayPal, it just it kind of turned my stomach. So and so now I just have a bad taste in my mouth with stable coins.
Yeah, a lot of that going around with PayPal's adopting it, but in any case, it's clear to me that if anybody has a little room in their portfolio and they're looking to expose it to a passive income project, a financial instruments or fintech type instruments, definitely go review the site. There's so much going on. I was just reviewing some of the pools that you could leverage over 3% daily. So there's a lot going on. I don't know how much we can get into it, but I definitely recommend people to go and at least check out Elephant.Money. Let's see what else is involved. But I want to put forth Hulk's question. He's a money manager of sort. Hopefully, I'm not blowing up his spot. I know he manages assets for others. So his question was, as the owner, what strategy would you advise, and how would you split between trunk and elephant? So yeah, I guess it's not a financial advice, but he is asking for, like, how would you recommend that that it's invested in elephant?
Okay. I personally am in the I think a sort of it depends on the goals of the it depends on the goals, right? So if you're just trying to if you're I think you can just look at the chart, but elephant has outperformed futures. So a lot of people want to pick futures because it's sort of because of this sort of the just this sort of fallacy of safety, but in actuality it's an annuity style product. You're giving up your principal right at the start, and then you have to earn it back, and then you actually have to manage it properly to earn it back. It's pretty straightforward to manage it, but you do have to manage it. And if you're managing funds for others, that could get gnarly fast. So, but if you just go into elephant, you're earning. We've been earning 0.8% per day compounded since, and you're earning reflections since January, and we're almost at going into the last quarter of the year. So, um, I personally,
I'll just add that to that, like, for any product, it's going to be hard to compete with elephant's exponential growth on a daily basis. I don't know how you quantify that, appreciation on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, and try to compare to a set product and putouts. I don't know how you compete with that. So I'm with you on that one.
yeah, I think it's just, I think it's, and remember the elephant is liquid, so no matter what happens, you can get in and out with your principal at any time, and that's not something you can do with futures. So I know people love futures because it looks like the thing that it looks like the core design that has made people a lot of money in the past 3 years. That's why. That's why people love it. But
Yeah.
I've built something better now.
I totally see. And he has a second question, which is in part of what I was going to ask. I think he's asking for, in part, future plan and introduction for any kind of lending. I'm not sure what the lending and the slash bonding means, but a future plan for trunk for lending purposes. Is that anything like that project that you are considering?
As we kind of get to, we have a limited set of partners, core partners, Pancake Swap being one. I think when we get the proper, we also have a relationship with Open Leverage. Once Trunk gets back to Peg, Open Leverage, we can extend that relationship with Open Leverage, and you should be able to borrow against Trunk there. You can borrow against your Elephant on Open Leverage now. They have isolated pools. They don't have, their community is not, they don't have the deep pockets and relationships that Venus has. So I'm hoping with us basically going past all-time highs and really properly putting the troubles from last year in the rearview mirror. The only way we can do that is by actually passing all-time high and then 10xing past that. That's when the exploit is fully resolved. So we're still in the recovery phase. Because we're still in the recovery phase, I don't necessarily, I understand that that is part of what is, you know, why the gatekeeping is being maintained. But once we 10x past that with no issues, because our attackers are still there. Anyone who would want to stop this project is still out there, right? And that's for any project. But it gets down to the Lindy effect. So we actually have to pass all-time highs, keep running for another year and change with no issues, and then all the brakes will be uh, lifted, and then we'll get
Totally.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much covers it. I don't know if you already answered that. I thought you did. He's also writes. Additionally, is there any other benefit to re-rolling my trunk rewards other than getting a bigger position to get yield on? I think you briefly spoke about that, but I don't know if you want to make another comment on that.
Yeah, you can just roll you can actually you should just hold your rewards if you can. But based on how the contract is designed, if you've capped out and it rewards are no longer accruing, then yeah, fold them in. But as Trunk gets back to peg, the APR will shoot back up to around 200%. So um, and that so as that's happening, your available will actually expand and grow. So um, so that's another strategy that people can employ, that folks can employ.
And I've gotten a couple of DMs now. People are just asking, hey, Cuzzo, just tell me, should I buy NFT or should I just buy the elephant? And my response is it's hard to differentiate because, well, I like the NFT and the continued value increase with every 10,000 mint and also getting 1% of treasury. But I also see the continued growth of Elephant's price point. Do you have a comment on that one? I hate to ask for advice because we don't want to start going down that path. But if you would recommend somebody to, if they just want to get their feet wet, dip a little toe, what would you say, check that product out first before you dive into others?
Right. So that's an easy question. We do have sort of canned strategies, I would say, not advice, but strategies. And the first thing is, if you have any questions about where you should be putting your own money, then you haven't done enough research. And if you haven't done enough research, then you don't have enough elephant. Does that make sense? So basically, start with the token. This is the lesson learned from the Bitcoin days. So the NFTs are like a Bitcoin miner, or you could have just bought a shit ton of Bitcoin. So the NFTs are powerful because they're underpriced now. You're basically buying miners, and if you do own a set of NFTs, it means that you'll never be priced out of acquiring Elephant. You'll always be acquiring Elephant on a daily basis in perpetuity. So that's what those things are there for. But obviously, in the short term, you could be doing 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x. These these are not outlandish, things. You know, where we are right now uh, is where we were last year. We have deeper liquidity and we have two liquidity pools, but those liquidity pools still are squeezed to a point where we're already sort of baking in over 1% days. Those 1% days become 2% days, 3% days, 5% days. And that's based on constant volume. But of course, we don't have constant volume. We have a growing user base, and we'll have more notoriety and things like that. That's going to all drive volume. The place where you're going to win in the short term is the elephant token. So the idea is to go, you know, never put in more than you can afford to lose. I hate saying that, but like you got to say it. Go into elephant. As you take profit, you can take profit into futures. You can take profit into NFTs, and I think that that's a good strategy overall.
Well, very well said. Again, it depends on your expectations. Without giving a financial advice, as I said, there's a continued price escalation on NFTs, and if anybody is worried about elephant price, if ever declining, then you are getting those every day from the NFTs. But the exposure to both is probably ideal. But this is what something I might do is just a little bit of both and see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to differentiate, but it's hard to argue with elephants escalation price every day appreciating, whatever the amount. That's just like that chart is crazy right now. It really is. And we're just looking at it every day. I mean, it's like, what is it, 300 mil market cap right now today? So but yeah, so there you have it as far as the strategies go. So does anyone else have a comment? Because if not, or a question, I'm going to ask about this continued user base, as you put it. How are you getting it? I guess that's a clever way of asking, what is your marketing strategy? Like, I'm sure you guys are doing something that a lot of projects just cannot get involved with. Do you have a huge presence on the YouTube or some YouTubers that are constantly pushing you guys? Like, where are you getting all these new users constantly?
Oh, it's a simple strategy. This is our core tenet. So, we have a couple sayings. We have cash flow for all. Um, and we have another one called each one teach one. So, we have a mandate. You know, when you're joining Elephant, it's not like another project, or it's not like I'm adding a liquidity pool to Uniswap. uh no, that's not it at all. We have a clear mission. We want to serve people who are underserved, and those if you're just learning about elephant and you're not in yet, great, you got in. But then your cousin isn't in, your sister isn't in, your niece isn't in. The These are the people who are suffering now in this current condition that the world is in. You know, uh, there's a lot of inequity in the world for everyone, no matter where they come from, their background, religion, region of the world, all that. There's a huge gap between the haves and have-nots. We don't need to get too philosophical about it. We're not judging anybody. There's plenty of rich people that are an elephant, obviously. We have big numbers considering the amount of holders we have. So the whole point is that this solution in this community, it's cash flow for all, not cash flow for poor people, not cash flow for rich people, not cash flow for the very few in the middle. It's cash flow for all. We think that we can normalize being able to put food on the table. How about that? And so if you can make that available to as many people as possible, it should start with the people that are immediately around you. So if you go to our site and if you look at our wiki and things like that, and just the tons of videos out there, SK Crypto K, all our other YouTubers and things like that. I personally feel like we don't have enough YouTubers. We don't. I know we don't. And so it's really early days there on the influencer side. But our strategy is basically everyone should be an influencer. Everyone should, when you have a good product, it should be going it should have some virality. What if I told you that I was disappointed in our user growth? Because I am. The main thing that has pushed the needle is price appreciation. So we with futures, we had we upgraded the model to where we could, for a certain amount of futures users, we had this constant buy pressure because you have to put that 200 in to keep growing the base. Um, but we had to work in the flats for a very long time when people could have simply shared Elephant with their friends and family and just bought in, and we would have moved a lot faster. But now, where we are in this phase, this is where the chart itself and the performance of Elephant itself starts demanding adoption. And so we're in a sort of that demand phase where um, the growth's just going to come. Um, I think for a lot of reasons, you know, people had to recover from the exploit, like emotionally and sometimes and financially, and plans that had been made were dashed. So that did happen, and so we put in the hard work, not just on the code side, but a lot of community members stepped up to the plate. you know, Cryptozoa is writing tons of Medium articles. Patrick from Cryptozoa has been a great partner in that, and SK Crypto K and stuff like that. And so AMAs, one-on-ones. Um, I heard about some guy out in Seattle. He has a marketing background, and he's doing Zoom calls now, and when you have that chart, it's easy to sell. So I say start with the chart, get
Sorry. The other reason I chuckle is that you're right. When the charts like this, everyone will market you, and the success breeds success. The user base is happy, so they're happily go out there try to bring their family and friends. I am surprised that our membership has not asked some of the tough questions that they usually do. We're running about an hour, 30 minutes, and the only reason for that is that I think this project and you deserve this spotlight and the time so people can understand exactly what this is. But I will ask one tough question. Um,
Sure, go ahead.
um, so normally the question that gets asked of projects like this, yes, we could call it a bank, but do you recognize the need for revenues outside of the user base investing and leveraging that liquidity? And if so, unless you're already doing something like that, and I would like you to make some comments towards that when people do say that, what about the need for outside revenue sources in case the user base deposits do slow down? What do you say to people like that?
Well, we have a diverse user base. It's small businesses, it's high net worth individuals, it's everybody in between. It's protocols. Um, we're a core utility. We're a utility. Like, again, we provide yield, and we provide not just any yield, high yield and reliable yield. Our NFTs are for people who understand real estate. They're going to jump on those NFTs, right? So People just aren't going to stop buying hamburgers. Our business is hamburgers, this yield. Like that's our core business. People, hamburgers are delicious. High yield is delicious in the financial world. That is our business, and we built it. We built a vehicle and engine. That's the way you really want to think about Elephant Money. Is it's this vehicle. Everybody's bringing gas to it, and it's going to make a defined amount of progress based on how much gas is brought to the table. Nothing in it is speculative. So just like you don't if you put gas in your car, you don't have range anxiety and speculate on whether you're going to be able to make it to the amusement park and back with your kids, right? You filled up the gas tank, you'll be able to make it back. You'll be able to do that round trip. So that's the same sort of predictability of Elephant Money. At the end of the day, we have products that have very predictable yield, which you can do 4 to 5x. We have products that are variable, like the NFTs, and you're still beating New York real estate. So um, my defense to that is uh, Apple has an amazing business. Amazon has an amazing business. You wouldn't go to Apple and say, well, just in case you can't sell iPhones, what else are you doing? I mean, well, we're doing everything that we think we should be doing outside of the iPhones, like the App Store and this and that service or whatever. We're always coming up with new things. But, the iPhone's been our core business for past 10 years. So in the 6 years that we've been operating as this core community across several blockchains, several protocols, yield, cash flow has always been our business. This is our business. Dare you, we do this business very well. Other people sell yield as well. We do it very well. And because of that, we are the best performing digital asset in the world. So we have one chart, like we have some flourish charts, but we have a flourish chart that basically maps Elephant against all the other marketplaces and big assets in the world. So like Apple, S&P 500, um, Nasdaq, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Um, I'm gonna post that chart in the chat, and then
Go
yeah.
for it. Go for it. Um, yeah, I'll ask the membership again if anybody has any questions. Tough questions, doesn't matter. Make a comment. BT welcomes that, as he said. But after you post the chart, I think I would ask that, and if you want to cover that in your closing statement, it's up to you. That what are some of the challenges that you foresee for Elephant, and if you've given a thought that this could be a roadblock, this could be a hurdle, whether it could be a challenges in crypto space, price of Bitcoin or not. But as you very well said, that your product, what you're marketing, what you're selling, what people are buying is the yield. And you found a way to mitigate the BNB decline and whatnot. And in your statement as well, if you want to cover some of the partnerships that you might be working on, I don't know if you're on a first name basis with CZ. You might be, because you're holding all that BNB. So if you can just comment on some of the challenges that Elephant Money could face, and anything that you're working on in future when it comes to partnerships or alliances with on a big name basis. And then if you would like to leave us with some closing remarks about Elephant Money.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's easy. Our biggest challenge is just acceptance in the marketplace from our peers, and I suspect that that's still going to be a little bit difficult for a while. I'll put it into perspective. Binance is Binance is the largest thing in crypto, is the biggest business in crypto, and they don't control the ink. Even after owning CoinMarketCap, they still don't control ink. There's tons of FUD being pushed out by Binance. There's no good news about Binance, and it's because they don't control ink. They don't own any media properties in the space, right? So, they have zero control over the narrative. We're we have the same problem on steroids. Not only are we on the market leader that's shunned by the whole industry because everybody's aiming for the king. And I hate to describe it that way. I don't perceive them as that way. I perceive the marketplace in general as everyone's supposed to be working together for the betterment of the people. But there are a lot of rich assholes out there, right? Bankman Fried, FTX. Need I say more? So. That's the problem. That is the core problem. Else you know, we, we can solve world hunger if we just get properly listed. So, um, you know, that's the biggest challenge. We'll work our way through. We'll start with Binance. We'll see if we can get the coin market cap listing, circulating supply listed properly. It could change. A lot of dominoes could fall in for the better very quickly, and that's our biggest challenge. Getting proper earned media, stuff like that. My way of circumventing all that is why I'm going down to Atlanta tomorrow. So basically working with like-minded people who do they're in finance, they're in fintech to actually help the people. So this InvestFest is ran by Earn Your Leisure, is a sort of leading media brand in the personal investing space. And so Mike Novogratz is going to be there, Kathy Wood is going to be there, Robert Smith is going to be there, Tyler Perry is going to be there, Steve Harvey's going to be there. He's like he's a partner in running that thing, and so that's why they're kind of blowing up. I think there'll be like over 10,000 people there in Atlanta, maybe 14,000 people. So that's going to open up Elephant to people who have financial podcasts, people who are CPAs, just all manner of people in business and finance, real estate moguls. The list goes on and on. People who have been burned by NFTs, so and crypto in general. But with Mike and Kathy there's obviously we're still going to be saying crypto's the way, right? So I think that's the main challenge is awareness. There's also business continuity. We're only half done there, but eventually the majority of the network is renounced already. And I want to get basically Futures and Stampede in their final forms. I think after this marketplace is released, I can pretty much renounce the NFTs right now, which is very exciting. Which is one of the reasons that where I'm so excited about NFTs, and I feel like we've already hit endgame. We have the NFTs, we have Bertha, we have the Elephant token. We're good.
Man, yeah. Um, you know what? A couple of comments. Every time you talk about Apple, I kind of chuckle because I've invested in Apple a long time ago, and through all the splits and stuff. So not complaining, not even going to speak about that subject. But I do love your analogy. Regardless, the revenues from product that they have, whether it's hardware, software, cloud, either way. But there's a name you mentioned, Kathy Wood. I'm a big fan of Kathy Wood. I think she's probably one of the smartest financial minds on this planet. Elon and Tesla would be nowhere without her. I think people don't give her enough credit. The fund that she runs is amazing. I am also invested in that. So if you do get a chance to talk to her, rub shoulders, make
Yes,
her an
yes.
investor or an advisor, I cannot even imagine, the growth that you will see, just a personal growth as well, because the things that she says, and it just blows your mind. So I'm a big fan of Kathy Wood. But yeah, man, listen, this is running almost 2 hours, and I thought it was
You know what
worth
I
it.
want to cut because real quick, Teller,
Sure.
there's a lot of people in this channel that can help with listings and things like that as well. That that have connections throughout the space, that I think that you could use to.
Yes, you cut out, but you're absolutely right. There are people here that have helped others with correcting listing situations, information, or getting listed when nobody else could. So we could definitely, put out a word. But at the same time, BT, I will extend the invitation to become a member at MMKK. Please stay here, leverage our assets, leverage our knowledge and a membership, and keep us updated if you're okay with that. Diaz, you cut out. I'm not sure if you have a further comments on
Yeah,
that.
no, sorry. My phone rang. Yeah, because you kind of finished off what I was going to say. There's a lot of, good individuals in here that can help correct things that you need to help. All all the major players, a lot of the major players, in in the space, promoter wise and things like that, listing wise, that have good connections are in this channel. So, like Cuzzo said, man, hang around and take advantage of the opportunities that are in this channel.
Sounds good, and yeah, I definitely will take you up on that because that's what we need. That's what we need. That's what we need most. Basically, get that CoinGecko, DeFi Llama, and CMC corrected.
Yeah, I think there are some members here that they'll definitely shed some light on it, what the problem is and how could it be fixed and what they could do for that. So definitely appreciate you joining us and staying here. But there's a lot more. It's not just the money aspect in MMKK, but like DS is saying, there's also project owners and future investors in a big way, but also an advisor that way, because people in here that have been in a space for so long, as you stated before, we all have something to offer. So definitely, pull on people, ask them. As a member of MMKK, we often do that. We often extend those courtesies to project owners. So please do use us if you need to. But other than that, I already asked you for a closing statement, but I'll ask the membership again. If anybody here has any direct question right now, they would like to get it on the record, please ask now. If not, we will end the recording soon. And then if BT has the time, he can hang around and kind of like improv some of the things that you guys don't want to be on recording out. Either way, I'm okay with that. Does anybody have any question or comment at this point, guys?
Yeah, I've got one.
Go for it.
Just a kind of pull from a movie line. Just shut up. You had me at $14 Bitcoin equivalent comment.
Nice. Nice, Sean. Thanks. BT, is there anything else you would like to add to our conversation, sir? If not, I could end the recording right here. Don't want it to be too long.
Yeah, it's probably a good time to end it. I can stick around for like 8 minutes. I got a marketing call at 1 o'clock. So yeah.
Great. Again, this was featuring Elephant Money. And if you have not yet checked out this project, I highly recommend that you do. Nothing that we say here is financial advice. But the chart speaks for itself, the team speaks for itself, and anything that they have conquered over time and the situations and hard times they have overcome. But it is a machine, it is a monster, as Arn said. But thank you for joining this AMA. It's a little 2 hours long, but I promise that it's worth it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.